something locked away, and just all these things that can test what you are as an organization, as a coaching staff, as a player, and really, frankly, like I said, as a program, because there are a lot of things that are preached and talked about and reiterated and emphasized. And occasionally those things look to play out in such a way that leads you to believe that they're certainly bought into and believed in and embraced. And then there's been plenty of evidence to see things that suggest that's not always true. And what Florida State can certainly learn from that nail biter against a Boston College team that prior to Saturday had shown no sign of being that kind of a team, capable of anything close to that. If you don't know, that team lost to Northern Illinois, who subsequently lost to Southern Illinois, and who Nebraska handled easily. That Boston College team that we just watched was 2 or 3 plays away from losing to Holy Cross. Likely should have lost the game if Holy Cross doesn't fumble inside the BC 40-yard line late. So this wasn't just made up out of thin air that they didn't look good, that there weren't things going for them, that they had limited skill, that they were struggling. It was a fact. That's how they had played up to that point. And I just wonder, if Florida State at 31-10 didn't decide in their mind the game was over. But these are big picture things that we can talk about. I'm very, very curious about a lot of things that won't be answered until this Saturday. And that's what I think is interesting, is that you really can't know for certain a lot of the questions, or they can't be answered, a lot of these questions, until we see what happens on Saturday. It certainly changes the dynamic, changes the conversation. This is a game where, in a lot of ways, the things that we were nitpicking about, quote unquote, nitpicking about, if you go back to the conversation after the Southern Miss game and even after the LSU game, let's go back, let's do that. And then we'll assess this game and look ahead to the next. After the LSU game, I remember thinking, on the one hand, it's pretty incredible that you could play a B- game against LSU, that you could play in that situation against that team with that kind of talent on that stage and not play anywhere close to your best game. You played a really elite half. The first half was terrible. Second half was great. I say terrible. You really got bailed out because you did bow your neck, and you get credit for that in the red zone. But you didn't really play all that well offensively or defensively in the first half of the LSU game, and you were only down 3, and you felt good about it. You came out, you made some adjustments, and you played exceptional football on both sides of the ball. On both sides of the ball, you dominated the second half against LSU. That's what Florida State was that night on that stage when it mattered. And so we rightfully heralded them for that victory and for how they played in that half, while also noting that they can be better. It's always easier to have the conversation about how much better you can be after a win as opposed to a loss, as we all well know, right? So we said, okay, all right, well, that's interesting. It's worth keeping an eye on. Let's see if they clean up some of the mistakes. Let's see if they're more efficient. Let's see how they go here from here. Let's see what they do. Problem was, you knew that, frankly, and as we said at the time, Southern Miss just wasn't going to be good enough to expose you, that you probably, athlete for athlete, had an overwhelming advantage. So we went into that game, home game, at night, kind of sloppy during stretches, didn't really think that we were all that efficient. And after that game, I brought up the fact that it would be silly to nitpick a 66-13 or 10 or whatever the hell it was win, right? That it's hard. You don't want to go crazy with your criticisms after you drop 66 on somebody and beat somebody down in which there's no question. But it is also fair in the moment to point out things like that bother you. And I was trying to strike a balance at that time because I was noting that the offensive line really didn't dominate that game. The Florida State got to 3rd and 4th down too often, and it showed a lack of efficiency on offense. I didn't think Jordan was great. I thought that when they had to have it in that game against Southern Miss, they really kind of reached back and out-athleted They were just bigger, stronger, faster. And you saw it on some of the conversions where they just had too much speed, too much size, too much strength. In the case of Jordan's long scramble on the fourth down play, just a weird sort of play that you wouldn't get away with against anybody that had even like athletes or anything close to it. But again, we didn't want to overly criticize. We didn't want to freak out about it. We wanted to keep a measured approach. Okay. So we had our concerns, but we noted that when Florida State's good, they're really good. When Florida State is efficient, they can be overwhelmingly good. But they've got to get into a rhythm. They got to figure out who they are. The line's not blocking too terribly well or consistently in terms of the run game. Trey's not hitting the hole. We see kind of a mix and match of sort of hesitancy, right? It just felt like there was some weird things going on within the offense. Jordan hadn't played great, save for one really good half of football against LSU. So you're kind of like, man, I don't know. Let's see. They haven't hit their stride. Well, BC should help solve that based on what we've seen. All right, let's go back and do that. Let's go watch, just go back and take a look at BC. And then we did. We went, ooh, not a lot to like here. I'm sure they'll play inspired ball. We know it's the red bandana game. Sleepy Nooners up in Chestnut Hill are always a problem in the sense that it's hard to match energy. It's hard to have energy. Let's see if they can be businesslike and focused. They weren't. They weren't early on. You saw that. You have busts right from the get-go. And, BC testing linebackers and misdirection, and you've got Kevin Knowles at safety who hasn't had a ton of time there. It really showed. He was bad. And so you're watching this and you're kind of, oh, all right, let's see. But then the adjustments happen, all right? Because what happens at the end of a game like that, where you're shook, where you're nervous, where you turn off your TV or flip to the other game and step out on your porch and crack a cold one and say, what the hell was that? What did I just watch? You tend to forget the details of those moments. You tend to forget, how did we arrive at a place where I'm actually thinking we're going to lose the football game? How are we on the cusp of blowing a 31-10 lead in which you had gotten stop after stop after stop after stop and then gone down and scored yourself? You had righted the ship from a sloppy start and a look-ahead game and a trap situation, and you thought all's right with the world. It's 31-10, and then all's not right with the world. Then you're sloppy. Then you decide to kind of go through the motions, or guys aren't as focused and locked in as they need to be, hence the head coach noting that today in his presser. And the next thing you know, you have this thing flip on you. And as he said, that's real life. It can happen just like that. So on the one hand, you might say this is exactly what Florida State needed before this Clemson game. This kind of a scare, this kind of a come to Jesus, this kind of a ball don't lie. If you're not going to respect the game and you're not going to play hard, this is what can happen. You deserve to be put in that position. Wake up. Right? You could say that. You could say it's a good thing. Or you could say we have more questions. We continue to have questions after these wins, concerns. This is our concern, dude. You're beginning to get a little worried about aspects of the team. Jordan hasn't been nearly as good as Jordan Travis can be. Where did Keon Coleman go in this football game? Why can't we get the running game going traditionally? Do they need to start Rodney Hill? Might this be a time to really look at the run game and decide that Marquiston Douglas is your better option at 285 pounds if we want to put an emphasis on the run game over Kyle Morlock? A lot of questions about personnel, about health, about the mentality of this football team after a game such as that one. The oddity is that if you're looking at certain elements of the game, Boston College, from a traditional standpoint, could not run the ball. The Robichaux kid had 21 carries for 64 yards. Not great. That ain't going to get it done. I think Boston College, if I remember going through my notes right, averaged, and you got sack yardage that college football stupidly and puts in all that, but it's something like 3.7 yards per rush. That's not bad. You're all right there. Third down. You don't ever want to hear a PA announcer say third down again, do you? Because every time it seems like you looked up and it was third and forever, we were going to let a guy break out wide the hell open in the middle of the field. Middle of the field. Sweet Jesus. Can we communicate, please? And that brings me to some of the sound that we'll use today. I've got Mike Norvell presser audio that I want to play that helps illustrate our point, to talk about what this is and where we're at and what I think of his press conference today. I look at these things very closely after we've seen some of the evidence that we've seen up to this point, because I'm not entirely certain. Everybody will tell you they're certain of what this team is or isn't, or how close we are or are not. It's a mixed bag, man. It's a mixed bag. There's some real good here, but there's some real bad here, and there's some things that have to get cleaned up, and in a hurry. You're giving up explosive plays on third and forever. You give up, well, it's almost unforgivable, because I'll tell you this much. At 31-10, Boston College's coach, Coach Hafley, gave up. The game was over, and he knew it. It was 31-10, and he began to run the ball up the middle and take his sweet-ass time calling the next play. He was ready to run clock and get the hell out of Dodge. Coaches will make calculated decisions on occasion when they recognize the flow of a game or the superior athlete on the other side and say, you know what? If I don't run clock, this is going to get really ugly. And I believe Coach Hafley looked at that situation in that moment at 31-10 in the third quarter and thought the game was over. And you allowed him to convert on a third and forever. And that gave them the hope they needed to play inspired football. Then you start making mistakes one after the other. Just total busts and or missed assignments. Can't pick up a squib kick. Obviously, the avalanche somewhat begins when you have a receiver and Keon Coleman doesn't bother to block anybody till a Feely fumbles. Guys right there to walk it into the end zone. Now you've got problems. Now you've got a team that believes. Now you've got to answer. And you saw this team surprisingly press when they had to answer. And you nearly gave the game away. Nearly gave it away. This had the feeling of so many games that have stuck in our memory where you know you're the vastly superior team, and then the next thing you know, you're saying to your television, if you're watching at home, we're going to lose. We're going to F around and lose this game. Can you believe what I'm watching right now? We're going to F around and lose this game to that bunch? Now, credit to the Castellanos kid, man. He played his heart out, and whenever we gave him the ability to roll out to his right, which is what he always wanted to do, was roll out to his right. By all means, don't take that away. Just let him keep on rolling to his right. He made plays when he got those opportunities. He's to be credited. Doffing of the cap, man. But they didn't run the ball well. You got him into the obvious situations. You think about in the fourth quarter when you're giving up third downs, conversions of all kinds, the money downs, as they like to call it over at Florida State. The money downs, you always see them doing that, right? On money downs, you're giving up 20, 17, 10, 10, 17, 35. I mean, sweet Jesus. I heard Mike talk about miscommunication. Heard Mike talk a little bit about not getting the play in on time. Buddy, that's a direct shot at a coordinator. That's what that is. That's putting your boy out on Front Street. That is calling somebody out. You can't have it. You can't have it. I mean, we have been watching them coach up this defense for some time, and to have miscommunications, to not get lined up properly in time is a problem. It's, at this point, fairly unforgivable and very, very frustrating. We've also seen them play well. So I think this is a fascinating week. For all we know, and I wouldn't be surprised by this, not at all, this is the wake-up call. Guys line up and play a clean game Saturday, walk out of Clemson with a victory, wrestle away control of the ACC from somebody who's been a bully to you the last 7 years. Could be. Wouldn't be surprised. I don't think you would be either. I think we'd walk out of there and go, okay, all right, well, see, that's in them. We know that's in them. You wouldn't also be surprised if some of these ugly things that we're discussing now rear their head again, and you're left with more questions than answers. I thought Mike looked like that guy today. I thought Mike at the press conference looked like a guy he wasn't real sure either of what they're going to be or what this is going to look like. Determined, pissed, frustrated, confident, a little shook at times. We'll play some of that audio momentarily. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Pain, soreness, and achiness getting in the way of your best life? Football legend Emmitt Smith refuses to back down to pain. That's why he's a huge advocate for QC Kinetics.
And hey guys, our next partner is AG1, the daily foundational nutritional supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it quite literally every single day. I began using AG1 because, I'll be honest with you, I don't like to take a bunch of pills and vitamins, and I just wanted something that tastes great, was quick, and easy to remember, so I do it. I do it every morning when I wake up. I certainly have it right after my coffee and before I work out. And I will tell you this, too. It is a simple, effective investment for your health. You can try AG1 and get 5 free AG1 travel packs and a free 1-year supply of vitamin D with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/JCS. Again, that's all you got to do is go to drinkag1.com/JCS. That's drinkag1.com/JCS. Check it out. It's delicious. It's quick. It's easy. It's proven. Vitamins, probiotics, whole food source nutrients. Start your day with it. You'll feel better. I promise.
I know you said you were on your way, but honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
The leaves are starting to fall, the temperatures will start to fall, and the prices are falling right now at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas. Incredible dealer discounts up to $5,000 are available on all hot spring spas, the industry leader in hot tubs and spas. If you've never experienced the sensation and relaxation of having your own hot tub in your backyard on a cool evening, you're truly missing out. The cold months are coming, and now's the time to set yourself up for the best winter season you've ever had. Plus, you'll gain the added health benefits of reduced stress, relief of sore muscles, and better sleep. You'll feel so relaxed after a nice soak in your new hot spring spa. You'll experience some of the best sleep of your life. Head over to Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road and check out their huge showroom packed with the best selection of hot tubs and spas available. And ask about getting up to $5,000 in discount, low interest financing, and a free accessory to make your hot tub dreams come true. If you're ready to relax, Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
What you end up having is people wrestle with competing things being true. They wrestle with, so each game is unto itself. You know that. And you can watch a team beat somebody who's very talented one week, turn around, lose to a team that's not the next. It all happens that way. And yet every time you get the most bizarre responses to things like that. I think the key is to try to push through that and find out what a team is. And I'm only concerned about us at this point. So figuring out what this FSU team is really difficult because I don't think they know. And I think that's part of the problem here too. When you look at personnel, Tom, and I said this, this is in game. I'm texting Tom now, and he knows my concerns after the first two games. So I want you to, hold up the truth meter to me here. Have I been talking to you about how concerned I am with the run game from day one?
Yes, I'd say specifically after last week, meeting Southern Miss. And
Okay.
You cited the numbers that a week ago when you said 50 plays that were not successful,
Correct.
3 yards or fewer.
Yeah, I was looking at success rate.
Yeah.
There were too many plays.
And my question at the time was, you mean both games combined? Because I had not seen that number. He said, no, just
that game.
Just the Southern Miss game.
We were solely reliant on a big play.
Yeah, and we have been.
And that's all they are right now.
Yes.
That's trying to rely on big plays.
Feast and famine.
That's Jordan Travis, too, by the way. He will not take what's there. He's not playing well. He's not. And it's interesting to watch this dynamic because I think it's got to be tough. On the one hand, you've got weapons all over the place. You have, obviously, Keon Coleman, who did nothing in this game, played a terrible football game. He was objectively awful in this game. Then you have, but we know he's not awful. So that's just a one-off bad game. You hope that's just what that was. I'm going to talk about something else in a second too that is actually applicable. This is a really kind of a choppy, convoluted, difficult game to dissect because there's a lot of good in the midst of all this terrible. It's just really weird.
It's not their fault they didn't have the ball but once in the first quarter.
It's bizarre, right? Well, it is their fault. They couldn't get off the field.
Well, I'm talking about the offense.
Right. Right. So, yes, they just have not played the complimentary football coaches talk about all the time. They just haven't. It's been really strange. So Keon Coleman is awful in this game. He doesn't block anybody. He's going through the motions. I think he was sick. I don't know that, but I think we have context clues that a lot of people in this game were under the weather. Now, nobody.
I hope he was.
I do too. Nobody's going to want to hear that. Nobody likes excuses. I got all of that. But both things can be true, man. I mean, I can hate that too, but it can also be true. If you've got a flu bug running through the team, then you could have a problem with certain guys' efforts. I thought we saw it some on the defensive line who got beat up a little bit by the BC offensive line. I thought you saw it in terms of the game plan to some extent where they didn't aggressively get upfield until they got desperate in the fourth quarter and realized they had to bring pressure.
I think that sows seeds of habits into a defensive front too.
It does.
If you're in contain and you're not pinning your ears back, and like the one time they did, Dvorak on the broadcast pointed out Braden loses his gap.
Yeah.
And then you have somebody run right behind him. There's nobody to clean it up.
Well, your linebackers aren't very good. Been saying this for some time, but I don't want to be a dead horse.
No, but speaking specifically to the defensive line, I mean, they're in between. I thought they were in between. Some of it might have been fatigue due to outside factors, but I think the game plan has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, it can be both. And then when you're on the field because you can't get off of it on third down, then you get tired. And now all of a sudden, now you're tired. And you saw a lot of that in the second half.
Yeah, you could see that in pursuit of plays as well. Like Jared Verse is very good at pursuing. Patrick Payton's been good at that this year. But you're seeing them, they're trying, and then it's kind of like a half jog, and it's not because of effort. They're gassed.
Yeah.
I mean, Boston College had the ball for a lot of this game, 33, 34 minutes.
Well, we know objectively speaking, there are a couple of things here. First of all, that stat is accurate, but also this is not an opinion. This is a fact. There were several guys who were under the weather this week, and we know that. And post-game, you can look at it and say that. But again, like this can all add up to a lot of things. It can be disappointing and frustrating, and you can call out coaches, but you could also acknowledge that you were shorthanded in some areas, and that is true too. I mean, they don't want Akeem Dent missed this football game. That is a fact.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Knowles took the lion's share of those snaps that would have been Akeem Dent's. Kevin Knowles, and we'll see what he becomes down the line as he gets more reps at safety, right now is not a very good player at that position for you.
Yeah, biggest L I took last week was I couldn't wait to see him because of what I saw in camp. He wasn't ready.
He was terrible.
He was not ready for it.
He was terrible. So there's no getting around that. Doesn't mean he will always be terrible. It means in this game, he was terrible, and he was.
Yep.
They gave Omar Graham way too many snaps.
I don't know what the hell that is.
I don't know why. He was terrible.
Do you know he graded out as one of our highest players on PFF?
That's because PFF. There's a lot of things about PFF I hate. You notice I never cite those.
That is
anyhow
bass backwards as anything I've seen all year long, and I've seen a lot of weird stuff.
He didn't play well. Anyhow,
not even close.
I don't cite it when it favors my argument. I don't cite it when it doesn't. I just leave it alone. It's one measure. It's not the measure, that's for sure. Watch the games.
He's guessing.
I warn everybody, just watch the games.
My man's out there guessing.
Well, there's a lot of things that PFF doesn't know, like the play call and what your adjustment is and all these other things. It doesn't know that. So, again.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm talking about Omar.
I know. I'm just telling people why PFF isn't. Yeah. All right. So, you've got a situation where a player misses an assignment in critical situations repeatedly. And you don't feel good about your other options. Clearly, Hussey was out there for 5 plays?
Yeah, and there was a communication. It's Shaheem and him talking about a slot assignment, and then the kid's wide the hell open.
Wide open. There were breakdowns all throughout the game with communication, getting the play in on time. And I think Mike sounded frustrated about that today at the press conference.
Yes, I think he sounded equal parts confused, concerned,
and angry,
furious.
He's trying to contain his fury. I read this a little differently than you read it. I could see that he just wanted to get through that press conference because he knew there was a lot that could be nitpicked and frustrated by. He also, I have a feeling, had some interesting conversations for some people. He, at one point, pointed out, you cannot be afraid of confrontation. You can't be afraid of the discussion. Yeah, he's talking specifically about the kinds of conversations he has had to have since that game. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
And I think those conversations are had with specific players that he's disappointed in after this game. And I think perhaps a coach.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question.
So you're a procrastinator at heart, right? When you were in school?
I was.
No, we've had this.
Yeah, I
before.
waited to the last second to do everything. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Because I could, right? That's not a great attitude to have.
No.
Because you're going to get burned at some point.
Well, this is the talking point we had about why it's okay to nitpick after a 66-13 win. You can say, well, look, man, I get what this is. We blew them out, but we didn't do this well because at some point you're going to have that come back to bite you when you face better teams. And that's what I was trying to talk about in the past.
Yeah, that's the process over the result. You
yes.
get to look at, you got the result done in the last second. You're gifted to be able to do that. That's great. But imagine what you would do if you proceeded to do things the right way and schedule stuff out, how much more free time you have, how much less stress would be weighing on you. Like in the same way, I think that we were positively reinforced for the third and fourth quarters against LSU and then for the run against Southern Miss after the first quarter. And they're saying, oh, if we just turn it on, we're good enough. And in a way, you're correct.
Yeah.
But if you're just a little bit off, as the 2014 team learned in the Rose Bowl, you can be made to look like a clown. And that's what happened in this second half.
Well, so I think when I talk about some levels of concern, there are things that I'm not sure will get all that much better. And then there are things that I think will get a lot better. And this game will illuminate that, and he'll be able to attack that, and things will be, righted in those areas. I think our defensive line will play better than that in terms of getting upfield and getting after the
It's a different kind of quarterback.
It's a different kind of quarterback. I think they'll be much better there.
Yep.
I also think that the discussion about getting the plays in on time and miscommunication, that's something.
My man.
Yeah, it's a problem, man. You
know,
cannot be 3 games into the season and still talking about this. It's
I was furious at the post-game show, and I didn't even see that part of the presser. If I had seen that, I might have gone back on another tirade, because when Mike, that's in his initial reaction press conference. This is the raw of raw. And Mike says, communication issues, we didn't get the call in. We didn't get the call in?
Didn't get the call in.
This is the first drive. You have 2 breakdowns. You don't get the call in on your first drive?
Yeah, it can't
happen. On your first drive.
Can't happen.
Sir.
Yeah, it's communication issues, and anything that is, well, I mean, get ready for a bunch of misdirection, because they know our linebackers get lost. So get ready for that.
Yep.
I mean, they get lost time and again.
Well, you would have gotten off the field in the second quarter when they take the false start and then he runs to midfield. If you have another linebacker on the field, one of your top 3, any one of them,
so
outside of the guy that was on the field.
Yeah, and that's the part about not respecting the game or whatever, thinking that you can just roll a guy out there and that he'll be fine. And
I thought we had multiple dudes hurt, because Kalen got hurt first drive, second drive, whatever it was. He comes off. I thought, do we have an issue here? And then he's out there for the next drive.
But this is where, Tom, admittedly, and I think objectively, it's fair to ask this: how sick was this team?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Maybe
he's getting fluids on the sideline.
That's what I'm saying. You would not have Omar Graham in the game as much as he was in key situations willy-nilly. You wouldn't do it.
100% a fair question.
And I think there were times where I'm kind of wondering about that. Now, look, man, maybe not. Maybe they just didn't read it right. I don't know, but I keep saying this. This will be an interesting game. I have a weird, on Monday, as we sit here today, after digesting this game more than once, unfortunately, more than once and a half, more than 2.5 times. I've watched this game too much now. I think we are capable of overreacting to this game in some ways. And there are other times I watch it and say, oh, we're just getting started with some of the dysfunction. I'm really getting concerned. It can be both.
Yeah, you can play this week's game, and a lot of the issues that presented themselves in Chestnut Hill are immaterial. This is not the same situation.
No, it's not.
Now, when we play Virginia Tech or Syracuse, you would revisit some of the issues you had with Boston College. In short, I'm saying they're going to play hard because it's Clemson. They know the stakes of this game. And I don't think that you can worry. Like Mike said, and we have the audio, but, they exhaled.
At 31-10, I think they kind of did, yeah.
If it's 31-10, and we're fortunate enough to do that to Clemson, we are not exhaling.
No.
But what about the next time it happens? Or what happens if you're up 21-7 and you just went through a dominant quarter against Duke? Are you going to let it get to 21-17? Like, I don't know that some of the things that we're red flagging this week are actually going to play out against Clemson.
Well, I went back and said this at the beginning. At 31-10, Hafley thinks the game is over. Apparently, so did our players.
Yeah.
And you give up the third down play.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't give up the third down play, they've already conceded the game. Everybody could see it. When he ran twice up the middle and then took his time on the third down play call, I'm like, he knows this is over. He wants to get off the field before this turns ugly, because he could see the avalanche coming. And how could he not have? There had been an avalanche at that point.
28 straight.
28 straight points. You were dominating the game at that point. Save for a few scrambles that were really, really frustrating, you were dominating the game. It's 31-10. People will forget about that part of the game. It's 31-10. That's why Mike said after the game, when he was asked and pushed on this several times, said, well, guys, that game could have gone a lot of different ways. What he's referring to is if you don't give up a scoop and score a touchdown on a really asinine play, and if you can pick up a squib kick, you beat the bejesus out of Boston College. That game's probably going to end 45-10, if not worse. But you didn't do that, and you did screw that.
Yeah, even 16 at the squib, because they have 16 on the board at that point. Yeah, you're going to go on. Maybe you don't cover the spread, right? But it's going to be 40 to something easily. Yeah,
and these are all ifs, ands, or buts. They did not do that, and so I don't disagree with him when he says that maybe they exhaled. Perhaps they did. It seems to me that Hafley understood the game was over too until you let them convert. What was that, third and what? 17.
Yeah,
third and 17. It's 31-10. At 31-10 and 3rd and 17 in your own territory, if you do not get that, he's punting the football, and then you go down and win the game. It's over. It's over. Just the running of the time. They're running out of possessions. It is over.
Yeah, it looks like zone. I don't know.
It is.
I don't know if we can run it. That's unfortunate because
well, you have too high the whole game, Tom. Why not? Just leave him back there because you'd seen so much on tape from this kid as a thrower that you wanted to be protected from the deep ball, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great plan. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Officials celebrated the opening of a new real-time crime center in Tallahassee Friday. The center is located at Florida State University's Slager Building at the Innovation Park. The Florida State University Police, Tallahassee Police Department, and Leon County Sheriff's Office collaborated with researchers in efforts to make the community safer. Although the center is now officially open, the operation began in February, according to a press release from all three agencies. Since then, the center has assisted in a number of SWAT calls and in the recovery of more than 120 stolen vehicles. In continuing the operation, law enforcement agencies will utilize cutting-edge technology to solve crimes faster. Officials will be able to use camera feeds to identify criminals and track people in real time to see what kinds of crimes they are engaged in and put a stop to it. The in-house learning lab will allow researchers to analyze crime trends and efforts to prevent them, and the ongoing research component also serves as an opportunity for students studying criminology and criminal law to gain hands-on experience in the field. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. High temperatures reach up to 86 this afternoon under clear skies, north winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows level off from 62 tonight, mainly clear skies. High of 87 tomorrow, bright sunshine. A mix of clouds and sun Wednesday with highs in the upper 80s, chance for scattered thunderstorms Thursday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 84.
A bed of Zaxby's crinkle fries, hand-breaded chicken, hardwood smoked bacon, and buttermilk ranch. It's the perfect comfort food. Pillows sold separately. Chicken bacon ranch loaded fries. Woo, saucy!
Your next chance to splash into some cash with Swain Pools and Spas to win $1,000 is coming up at 2 p.m. Listen out for the keyword, and all you got to do is text the keyword for a chance to win $1,000.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All of these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Like, what is Boston College going to do now? Rightfully. I mean, I get we don't.
No.
But I did for half a second think to myself, if I were an administrator at Boston College, how frustrated would I be? Because, you know, they nearly lost to Holy Cross. They did lose to Northern Illinois. They almost pulled off a miraculous win against a Florida State team they had no business being in the game with after trailing 31-10. And yet, as I walk off that field, knowing that by rights I cannot be mad at my head coach for failing to beat Florida State and losing just by 2, I can want to fire him on the spot. 18 penalties suggest you are not coached very well.
Oh, and how many did we decline? 4?
I mean, it's
3, 4?
Yeah, so it would be the weirdest conflicted feeling, like, oh, great effort, coach. We were right there. Almost pulled off a magnificent upset against Florida State. Imagine if you hadn't committed 18 penalties, including the final face mask, to give the game away.
Dude, the other thing, too, for all the tough talk he had after the Holy Cross victory, 4th and 1, and your quarterback has to talk you into going for it?
That was weird.
That was strange.
Well, unfortunately,
it was the right call.
Well, it was the right call.
What Adazio did not do 10 years ago.
I agree. All right, let's hear from Mike Norvell. A lot of people don't get to hear that, press conference like we do every, right after the game on a Monday. So this is Mike Norvell earlier today.
You make the run to go from whatever it was, 10-3 or 10-3 to 31-10. Like that was grit and response. But when it got 31-10, right, where did we go from there? Why did we have 4 focused penalties that showed up from that point to the end of the game? Why did we turn the ball over 2 times from that point to the end of the game? Why did we have, a couple certain things that happened in critical situations? There were a couple mistakes where we missed a single or we missed it. Why did that happen at that point? All right. Because, just like in human nature, I mean, you get to a point, you're like, all right, you start off a game and you're down. Nobody's pitchers. We didn't sit there in a hotel thinking, hey, just wait till they go down and score on that first drive. And we bust 2 opportunities in communication. And nobody thinks about that. But when it shows up, there is an uncomfortable feeling. The response to it, to get back to 31-10, there was still a quarter and a half left to go in the game. And that's the edge I'm talking about. Like that's I told the team after the game, that's where the killer instinct has to set up. And this is done. I'm going to finish better than what it was. Pissed off that the fact that we started off not as good as we needed to. And we didn't have that.
So you would ask why he would cite human nature as he just did there to some extent. I believe he's right to some extent as well. It is human nature. And so, I think from there you could see the frustration. I also, and I said it this hour and I've said it repeatedly. I think Florida State could very well clean things up and play a great game this Saturday against Clemson and get the win. We may end up looking at this Boston College game as an afterthought. There are any number of examples, both in Florida State history, but also throughout college football, where a team that is decidedly better than another either loses or barely wins a football game. That Georgia team a year ago that we talk about going on the road against Mizzou, having to score late in the 4th quarter to get a win against that program was insane. There's no way that game should be within 21, but it was. It does happen. It is not completely something that is out of lockstep with excellence. It does happen occasionally. So let's see how they respond. In some ways, we always talk about if you can survive one of these moments and get a win and wake up and fix your problems, you can go on to have a great season. And I still think this team is uber talented. They got guys, but they don't exactly know who they are, and they have been disjointed.
Yeah, the reason I'm mad today, and I was mad in the post-game show, is because they're potentially excellent. If they were an okay bunch that are overachieving, then you look at this game and say, well, all right, guys, that was scary, but 3-0. Can you believe this team is 3-0? Of course I can believe this team is 3-0. This is a really, really good team. And you got a coach who's furious. He's beside himself.
You can hear it. Yes, he's mad.
That they didn't have the killer instinct to go out and finish the game. Because in the previous 2 situations, they go on the run. It's the 4th quarter. Now it's essentially over. And then against Southern Miss, you're rotating in the second wave because your job has been done. But I do not think it's an overreaction to be angry with this group, because the head coach even told you in the post-game press conference after LSU that some of the bad things he saw in practice leading up to LSU crept into the game, and that, quote, pissed him off. So there's a through line here between bad habits that cropped up for LSU and then the start against Southern Miss and then what we saw for the finish and even the first quarter for the defense against BC. There's a through line there and a trend. They got to put it to bed.
He didn't answer a question he was asked in the post-game press conference about whether or not he would have gone for it if they hadn't committed the face mask.
Oh, no, he said, yeah. He said, well, we got the face mask.
Yeah, he didn't answer that question.
Because I do.
I don't think you do either, but I'll tell you something right now. I think if we punt, we're in trouble.
We could be. We did just get off the field in the same situation.
And they were bringing the heat in that drive.
And we would have.
And we would have had to, because obviously the other way didn't work for 3.5 quarters. So, that's.
So it's ball's in the air. It's a one-on-one.
Yeah. You got to trust that the guy's going to be there for the one-on-one, that he's going to be in the same zip code.
I mean, I would think, not to get hyper technical as an answer, but I would think that we are in press one high, just like we were against LSU for the. There's no more wrinkles. If I'm Mike, I'm saying, yo, I get that we've repped these things and they worked in practice. Knock that crap off. The LSU game plan.
Yeah, well, and it's weird because you do have the athletes to do it. I mean, you can.
And they look, the aptitude was there in camp. We saw different things and it was run correctly. But perhaps we underplayed, and I'm looking at me here, Akeem Dent's importance in this operation.
Apparently so. I did too, apparently. I mean, he at least he knows where to be.
Maybe he's getting other guys where they need to be and their landmarks.
That's the stuff we don't know. I mean, you'd have to be down on the field. You'd have to be in the film room with him. But it clearly,
how many
you
times
have evidence.
are our guys doing this at the snap?
No, that's got to stop. We're 3 games in. It can't happen. Play the next clip from Mike Norvell that we have queued up here.
I mean, we had a 3rd and 17 the other day that I think was one of the plays of the game, up 31-10. And, you sit there and a rep, we'd look, 10 guys checked immediately to the coverage and the defensive play and structure we wanted to run. And, 10 guys got it, 1 guy didn't. It just happened to be where the ball was thrown. And, that's where it's like, you talk about it afterwards, like, why did that happen? I mean, there's all different types of, to things. Like, nobody wants to make a mistake in that moment. Nobody wants to not be on the same, to be on the same page. But, that's where, whether it's during a walkthrough, whether it's during, the practice rep, whether it's your rep or not, we all got to be on the same page, in those adjustments. And, it's something we look at as coaches, we look at as players, and we all take ownership in it. On LT's, fumble, there was, we had a miscommunication on that, and that's a play that's there, has a chance for a big gain. But unfortunately, it's just like those are the things that showed up there in the 4th quarter. That, I mean, you're a couple inches away from just really blowing that game out of the water for how we should finish, but we didn't. And so that's where we all get to look back and say, all right, why did this happen? How can we make it better? And then you go to work and work to fix it.
I'm curious. Jordan kind of gets a pass in some of this. We're not speaking about this a lot, and I really wish for a variety of reasons that I had a good look at the All-22, because there's some things I can't know in terms of the safeties. But Jordan made a lot of curious decisions 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row, whether to keep or to give. He's also made some really weird decisions as to which receiver he's choosing to throw to in critical situations. The throw to Johnny Wilson on 3rd and long is stupid. You have a wide open Lawrence Toafili if it comes out right now, and all you need is the first down.
Yeah.
And that decision to throw a 50-50 ball toward the sidelines, an inaccurate throw as well, is problematic, and it's not the first time. And that's why I think he's kind of betwixt and between, just like the offense is to some degree. They haven't had an identity up to this point, and I think because he's got playmakers, he's been inclined to side with 50-50 shots with guys that he thinks are going to win those battles, but those aren't the safer plays. I would not be surprised if this was a conversation this week with him and Mike about taking what's there. Just listen, just take what's there. It will open up the big play later. That's how you get a Jaheim Bell streaking down the sideline against LSU wide open, because we've set it up. Just take what they're willing to give you. Team's going to try to take away that other stuff over the top. Yeah. Let him take. Jaheim's open several times in this game and he doesn't throw it to him.
Correct. There's a deep shot to Keon up the right side that Jordan throws. It's too much towards the middle of the field. And I get it in his mind. A 50-50 is a 60-40 us or a 70-30 us because of these athletes. But if you hang back for another half second, Jaheim is open over the middle of the field.
Wide open.
And I don't know if he's going to score or not. The throw to Toafili up the sideline, it's a wonderful throw and a really good adjustment by Lawrence, who does a 360 to catch it along the sideline. Destin Hill is right in front of his face the whole time.
He
and wide
clearly
open.
Doesn't trust Destin. He won't throw him the ball.
Yeah, this is
it's
a through
bizarre.
line from last year's Clemson game. If you recall, there was a 4th down shot to Johnny Wilson in which the flat's open. And we throw it to Johnny. It's in that middle 8 sequence in which we also get sacked and there's a fumble.
Yeah, the whole thing happens.
That's how that game unravels, is in that moment. But one of those was a decision that you've got something underneath that's wide open and you take the shot. Now, you're correct. He hasn't had weapons like this before where you're right to be greedy in some circumstances.
Yeah.
I think the worst thing that happened to him was the 4th and 1 early on. He hits Johnny in one-on-one. Remember that's a low percentage play on 4th and short to throw a one-on-one ball up the sideline. I believe it's the correct read because you can't see it. This is where the all-22 would help. But on the bottom, we've got trips, and then we call in a running back to protect. It looks like they're all just clearing out on the right. I don't know that he's got an option to the right. So
yeah,
the one-on-one to Johnny may be the correct decision there, but wow, in a 4th and short, that's your best option is a one-on-one ball. They complete it. There's also a defensive penalty that either way you were going to convert on 4th down. But maybe that's the worst thing in the world that happened to him early, was that you're positively reinforced for that. There are a lot of moments in these first few games where you've got 100% certainty of good plays.
No, and I get it. I mean, like Jordan hasn't been awful. He's just leaving a lot of yards and plays on the field right now. And I think it's because he's inclined to trust the big play down the field right now because of the weapons. And I get
worked against LSU.
And I get how it can happen. I won't be surprised if we attack the middle of the field in this game. Mm-hmm. And they have really failed to attack the middle of the field really since the Keon touchdown to LSU.
Yeah, well, that's what got him out of it. The first drive in the third quarter with Johnny, the shot over the middle of the field.
I love when we do that. It really opens everything up. It will be fascinating to see. Briley, you asked if I've mentioned Johnny or Lundy or Fitz. Fitz, obviously, great job. Mentioned him before, not today. Really wasn't looking at that. But Johnny, I'm glad they did get him the ball early and he made those catches. Lundy didn't play well, so there's no reason to mention him. I know he had a pick, but he didn't play well. Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show coming up, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Attention radio listeners, this is a Foodies Takeout and Delivery new restaurant alert. Now available for takeout and delivery from foodiestakeout.com. The Hawthorne Bistro, Jerry's Love on a Plate, Coach's Pizza, Munchie's Pizza, Red Eye Coffee, Lofty Pursuits, OG Subs, Dave's Pizza Garage, Sakura Sushi, and many more. Find a complete list of locally owned restaurants offering takeout and delivery at foodiestakeout.com. That's foodiestakeout.com. Don't just shop local, order local.
Let me tell you what T-Spark stands for. It stands for strength, commitment, teamwork, and heart. We don't ever quit until we've got nothing left to give. Our team is unstoppable. Want a guaranteed win? Call T-Spark Enterprises for your next roofing or construction project. We conquer all peaks. TSparkConstruction.com. License number CCC 1331204.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
Let's take a minute to imagine all the things you can accomplish with help from Southeast Portable Buildings. Are you a hoarder? Hoard some more. Get a storage shed. Mother-in-law moving in with you? Put her in a shed out back. I'm kidding. Still working on that engine that you're going to finish from last summer? Uh-huh. Move it out to a new workspace with Southeast Portable Buildings. From she sheds and man caves to repair shops and trophy rooms, the possibilities are only limited to your imagination. Visit Southeast Portable Buildings today.
Crawfordville Auto and Tires remix, y'all.
Crawfordville Auto Repair and Tires.
Automotive service, there is no one finer. Tires and struts and wrecks and pinions.
ASE certified technicians.
12-month, 12K guarantee.
Same-day service usually. Engine rebuilds done complete. Brakes and shots, that's no small feat. Keep your AC blowing cool. CV joints and emissions too. Open weekdays till 6 at night. Give them a chance, they'll treat you right. Crawfordville Auto Repair and Tires. 2170 Crawfordville Highway, Crawfordville, Florida.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Don't go anywhere. Your chance to win $1,000 is coming up next on Real Talk 93.3 WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
Here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Jaguars a 3.5-point underdog against the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday at Everbank Stadium. Total 54. Trevor Lawrence, 254.5 passing yards. That's an over-under prop bet. 1.5 touchdown passes. Shaded to the over minus 135. College football coming up tomorrow. Florida hosting Tennessee. The Gators have won 9 straight at home over the Volunteers. Tennessee, the 6.5-point road favorite, total 59. Florida State, the 27-point favorite at Boston College, total 48. Boston College 5-15 all-time against the Seminoles. Braves today, $1.98 road favorite of the Miami Marlins. Get your free VSiN subscription right now at VSIN.com. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Back to school is on, and Staples has great prices on everything you need for your best year yet. Save on headphones and laptops. Save on notebooks, pens, and all the essentials. Priced low and still in stock. And right now at Staples, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comp books are only 50 cents each. Plus, select notebooks are just 35 cents each. School on, save on at Staples, where school savings are always in session. Ends 9/16. In-store only. Limit 30.
It's officially here. This week only, enjoy 50% off your purchase during our Friends and Family event at Banana Republic Factory. Explore limited time savings on the latest elevated styles online or at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
Unlike other credit cards that decline sports betting transactions or treat them as a cash advance, the GBank Visa Signature Card can load directly to your favorite sportsbook apps. G.bank/VSIN.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
It's time to splash into cash with Swain Pools and Spas. Here is your next keyword.
Grand. G-R-A-N-D. Grand. G-R-A-N-D. Grand.
Text that keyword now to 508-777-1000. That's 508-777-1000 for your chance to win $1,000. Sponsored by Swain Pools and Spas.
Power Mill Training Academy equips motivated athletes focused on baseball and softball with the specific tools to reach their true potential. Now, you'll read that if you go to their website, but I'm here to tell you that, look, whether it's your daughter wanting to play softball, your son wants to play baseball, or maybe they just want to have fun and get the most out of their abilities, and that's where Power Mill comes into play. They've got coaches and camps that teach for every level of play for your son or your daughter. To learn more, go to PowerMillSports.com.
Hello, Leon County. Let's get ready to win with Ken. I'm Ken Preston. I want to be your next Leon County property appraiser. I'm driven, committed, experienced, and a dedicated community servant. I'm ready to put my experience as a former property appraiser to work to help make a difference for the people of Leon County. Let's go to work. Vote for me. Ken Preston for Leon County Property Appraiser 2024. Win with Ken. A political advertisement by Ken Preston for Leon County Property Appraiser.
Every child deserves a chance to live their best life and celebrate every moment. When you support St. Jude, you help give kids with cancer around the world that chance. Together, we can save more lives. Finding cures, saving children. Visit stjude.org.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
that you expect them to go play well. I kind of do. I keep thinking that. I woke up thinking that on Sunday. I'm like, they'll probably play pretty well this weekend against Clemson. They'll be razor sharp in terms of focus against Clemson. We wouldn't have to worry about that. So that element of the game won't be in play. I don't, the one thing I can't know, and we're not even allowed to talk about it if I did know, not in detail anyhow, how sick were they? I asked that in the first hour. I do wonder. I mean, if you've ever had the flu, and we all have, you're not doing anything strenuous with a great degree of proficiency. You're not. It's just not possible. So to the degree that guys were under the weather, that would also be something that if you knew for certain, like, hey, this guy was sick as a dog, this guy was sick, this is why so-and-so was playing so many snaps because they didn't have another option here, or here. Well, then, yeah, maybe it would help explain some of the lackadaisical sort of go through the motion plays that we saw in this game. And there were a lot of those. So some of it's confusion, some of it is scheme, some of it is frustration from a lack of communication, all the things we cited, but some of it could very well be that they were sluggish.
Yeah, I think it has to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, it
because
is. It's definitely
the reality of what was going on. But it's 31-10, and a flu doesn't put you in a position where you're going to muff a squib kick. And it doesn't put you in a position where you're going to turn a blocker loose or a defensive back loose. And Lawrence Toafili's in a one-on-one that he never thought he would be by scheme. Now, you don't have to fumble the ball, Lawrence, but you're allowed to block the kid across the way too.
Right.
And that's the thing is, like, I'm not going to be doing a happy dance for the 9 yards per play that we averaged against Boston College early on and the 28 straight points to get us to 31-10 because Boston College sucks. They still do.
Yeah.
That didn't change over the weekend. They didn't magically become this, bowl contender 7 or 8 win program that's going to be top 4 or 5 in the ACC. They're still a bad football team that you had beat and you let them off the hook, as Dennis Green once said a long time ago. And that's not going to be the case this week. Like Mike Norvell said, human nature is to exhale. They're not going to against Clemson.
No, they won't. They'll undivided attention. Also, the understanding of what's at play here. The intensity level will be through the roof from the first snap for both teams. That's not going to be a problem at all. I just want them to clean up the miscommunication. I want them to clean up the inconsistency of a play not getting in defensively, the call not getting in defensively from your coaches. That can't happen. It's problematic. I'm sure it's been addressed. You can see the anger, and you can hear the anger, I should say, in Mike Norvell's voice when referencing that. There are some things that I also think will get cleaned up just by the nature of the game. I don't think you're going to be going through the motions against Clemson at any point.
The way I'd put it is Mike Norvell had a choice. In the moment after a game, your emotions or your first impressions without seeing the film are going to dictate how you go about conducting a post-game press conference. So that's in its own way, its own thing. But then when you arrive before the media on a Monday, you've had time to prepare how you want to message, what you want to talk about, what you want to fix on, and the emotions that you want to set the tone for the week. How am I going to set the tone for this week? This press conference today sounded not like one after a win. It sounded like a press conference after a loss. And that was before one question was asked. Mike Norvell looks bumfuzzled a little bit by the group that he thought would finish game strong, decided to take a bit of a breather. It's fair for us to interject that perhaps there's a bug going around the team that helps that focus dull quicker than it normally would.
Yes.
But whatever the case, Mike Norvell decided after 48 hours away from this thing that here's how I'm going to approach a Monday and set the tone for Clemson week. And it wasn't in guys, I got to tell you, the adversity we overcame today and on Saturday, you wouldn't believe. I mean, I had guys almost in body bags on my sideline. They were so sick.
Right, he didn't choose that
These
route.
gentlemen,
They
powered past, I wish I could have shown you guys film of what our pregame locker room was like, what our halftime locker room was like. He didn't go that route.
Right.
He went the exact opposite route, saying there's a lot of we didn't play up to our standard.
Well, I think there's two parts to that. 31-10, you got the game won. It's 3rd and 17. They've conceded the game, and then you give that up. It's unforgivable. You really cannot give that up. And that pissed him off. And then how we reacted to that made him angry too, because then we looked flustered. We seemed absolutely depressed in those moments. Now, he did rightfully point out more than once that he was happy to get the win, as one would be. And I do think it's fair to say, in reaction to that, previous teams might not have. Previous teams probably would not have found a way to win that game.
In a way, this was Jacksonville State and NC State all over again.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that resembled those games.
The result was different. And here's what he said that's important to me, too. He said, I was really proud of the response. So what does that imply if you're happy with the response?
Oh, after the game?
Yes.
Yeah,
and he said it today too.
Yeah, he knows they were furious. And I'll just say I was told that they were very, very angry with themselves after this game. So I think that he saw what he wanted to see from players after a game like that.
Right. No, but I'm talking about the 28-0 response. That implies that you hated the way you came out, right? You can't be happy with a response if you're happy with how they started. There's no response needed. That's how we came out and how we started the game. He certainly wasn't happy with how they finished it. So it's that sequence where they go 28-0 on that ass and they're up 31-10 after 10-3 that he's very pleased with. But if you're happy with the response to get to 28-0, that tells me again as a coach, you're assessing that we did not start sharp.
Do you think I thought there was a lot? I'm going to go back and watch it again. I've watched it a couple of times just because I like watching Mike. I think he's pretty revealing. And I mean that in that I think he's intentionally revealing. I think there's times he's very careful. He's very careful and measured with his words. He wants to be sure he doesn't roll kids under the bus while also pointing out that he's aware of mistakes that were made, and whether it's a play or a scheme, or sometimes he sends messages. You can hear it. Sometimes he sends messages to Jordan through the press, to other players through the press. And it's not always some sort of riot act that he's reading them through the press. It could just be a reminder, a very simple reminder.
Well, and sometimes it's even, getting behind a kid. After Johnny's performance last week, he was really good in practice on Tuesday, but Mike could have said, yeah, he had a solid day. Instead, he chose to talk about how tremendous he was. That's a confidence builder. You can send messages in a variety of ways. Today, Corey asked him about Keon Coleman.
Yeah. No, and he said it goes both ways.
Right.
Last week, somebody else got more attention. Jaheim Bell had more catches or didn't have a catch. And he went on through. Yeah, he said all that. Yeah. I think he was sending a message to Keon about focus in this last game. Keon did not have a good day.
No,
made some weird choices.
It's one of the principal reasons you have a scoop and score. I thought he had alligator arms on the third down on the first drive.
That was pointed out, by the way, in the broadcast.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, kind of alluded to. And then also, I thought Keon.
Because they thought the throw was behind him, and then they look at it and he goes, "Oh,
yeah."
Well, the problem. That snap, you can break down this play. You never know what the quarterback is supposed to be looking at. But if Jordan realizes the rush is coming, I don't think he realized it. Because if he did, Johnny's open on a corner in the end zone. It's not even close. I don't think Keon was expecting the ball. I don't think he might be the last read on the play. But then also the defensive tackle drops in coverage. So I think that spooked him. But the D tackle didn't know what the hell he was doing. He was backing up as he was swatting at the ball. But there's that. He turns the guy loose. And then, look, man, the final nail in the coffin would have been the muff on the punt, where he's in between, it goes off his shin and out of bounds. Now, we saw that once when we were at Doak during camp. That was the Doak night practice where he did that same thing. But that's just where the avalanche happens to you, and somebody's got to be the one to stop it. Thankfully, the football guys
went out of bounds.
Allowed for that ball to bounce out of bounds and not the other way.
You saw they yelled at him as soon as he came off the field.
As they should have.
As they should have. Yeah, the whole thing was interesting. It was a weird Keon Coleman game. Just a weird Keon Coleman game. He's too good. You hold him to the highest of standards. He's too good a player. And by the way, let's point out, as we did all through camp, Keon has never revealed himself to be selfish.
Oh, never.
He's never shown any of this. So I'm not telling you he's a bad kid and was griping because he didn't get the ball. I'm not saying that. He had a bad day. That's why I openly, it's conjecture on my part, but I openly wonder how healthy he was. He didn't look like he was all there. He didn't look focused. He didn't look locked in. It was weird.
And then there was the end around where he turned it upfield. Turn it upfield.
Right.
What are you doing?
That's what I'm saying. There were choices made in this game that suggest he wasn't healthy. I'm going to guess he wasn't healthy because we've never said he was soft.
Right.
We don't think that he doesn't care. He cares. He's fit right in and worked hard from day one. Jordan Travis has talked about that, how impressed he was with Keon from day one.
Yep.
So I don't want anybody to think we're inferring that the guy's a malcontent. He's not.
No, he's
not.
No.
He had a bad day. He played poorly.
He could choose to block more consistently. Gave him praise last week because he did against Southern Miss a couple of times.
It's true with a lot of receivers, but you're right.
But here, we have founded something new, a bit of a higher standard here about driving kids into the bench. You don't have to be great at it. You just got to try. That's the thing. And he could be a little bit better there, but I'm not saying that is code for he's not a team player.
Right.
This is not Nooney Murray. It's just that play kind of looked like Nooney Murray. Not saying he's that guy. I'm just saying that's what it looked like for the scoop and score.
Who played well? Johnny Wilson played well. Johnny Wilson played well.
I thought Renardo played well.
Renardo Green played very well.
He turned the guy loose in the first play, but
that's a miscommunication.
Renardo is not the guy that's just going to decide to go freelance.
Nope, you're right about this. Just say it. No caveat. Renardo played well.
Yep.
Johnny Wilson played well. Jaheim Bell played pretty well.
I thought Deloach had his moments. I know, but it was a big difference when he was on the field.
Well, he's a hell of a lot better than Omar Graham. Jesus.
Yeah.
I
thought Bless played well.
In pass pro, he does all the time. He's not a great run blocker.
But he did more than some of our guys in run blocking. We got an issue with a couple of players. I watched that. We talked about this morning. And
we got an issue with the right tackle in run blocking.
That is correct.
Yes.
And the center.
It's easily identified. Well, this is why I say we got to have Mo back.
Yeah.
So snapping and pass blocking, you're fine with Washington.
Yeah.
Run blocking, you're not.
Well, he had, Jordan did erase one mistake. There was the ground ball snap, and we got a first down out of it. That was also when the Avalanche was on. That was a big play by Jordan.
It was a big play.
Big play.
It'll be the health of Jordan Travis is not something we've mentioned. And I think it's important here to talk about this because it will play a part in this football game. I don't know the extent to the shoulder injury. We all saw he hurt the shoulder. There's no, you're not speaking out of turn. We're watching the game.
Yeah, that sleeve might have been a little bit. There might have been something underneath it in the second half.
That had to hurt. My man is putting his arm down and jamming his. I'm like, don't do that. But anyhow, that's an awkward angle with the elbow up. You could see, I thought, oh man, I was worried it was a broken clavicle. I was broken. It was out of socket.
Forearm,
I was just like, man,
humerus.
I was just glad it wasn't his throwing hand. But that's pain, right? So let's hope this is pain tolerance and not structural damage. If this is pain tolerance, as in you have a bruise, a bone bruise of some kind, or a strain, or something like, listen, people get uncomfortable when you talk about this, but the bottom line is football players are gladiators. They are. It's a brutal sport. And I'm just here to tell you that in a game like this, Jordan wouldn't want to be out. And if that means he has to take a shot of Toradol to play a whole game with a left shoulder that he doesn't feel, then that's fine. Because guess what? This is true of everybody that's hurting right now, okay? Let's be realists about this. Florida State, obviously the stakes are high. We already understand what Clemson is. All right, so what this game means to the season, the whole deal, right? You got to pour everything you can into trying to win this game. Season's not over if you don't, but you got to try to pour everything you can into this game. All right, got it. What do you have afterwards? A bye week? All right, I'm going off the top of my head. Bye week and then Virginia Tech?
Yes.
All right, so 2 bye weeks? So basically what you have then is—
Don't fall in that Boston College trap.
Stop it. Anyhow, you've got a whole lot of nothing for a couple of weeks, few weeks, right? Guys will get right. You'll be all right. You just got to go win this game. So shoot them up. and let's ride.
Well, this is where, again, I return to, there are some things process-wise that are broken this week. Mike Norvell talked about our standards to get better every week, and we didn't do that. Okay, that's pretty cut and dry from the coach.
Yeah.
From the coach. It ain't the media making up a negative narrative. The coach says we failed. That is not something that you can learn from this week against Clemson. They're going to be focused. This is it, man. This is it. You win this one, inside track to all of your goals, every single one of your goals, and you air it out ahead of a bye week. That's why I was hoping that when Lee was teetering west and east, that there was a scenario by which Boston College could have played us next week after Clemson and then played Virginia in October. I wanted the bye after Clemson. I want you to be able to air it out physically, emotionally, and then lick your wounds. I mean, they had to against LSU. They were tired after LSU. That was physical. The adrenaline rush, the crash, all of that's real. Air it out this weekend, and then you've got time.
And I don't think you'll have to worry about that. Airing it out speaks to emotions and intensity.
And pushing past if something's bothering you, but it's not an injury. Yeah.
None of those things will be in play this weekend. They will be able to be focused, intense, fired up, playing through pain. All of that will be achieved. Intensity does not help you if you don't get lined up. Intensity does not help you if you don't understand your assignment. And those were the breakdowns that I think are absolutely fair and right to be critical of, to ask, why is that happening? Now, the responses could be layered. I mean, you had to play a guy. I think we both know you had to play a guy that you didn't want to play that many snaps. You might have had to play 2 guys in this game, more snaps than you wanted them to play. you may have had, again, some kids under the weather. I thought Patrick Payton played terrible. So there's a kid. I don't know is that lethargy or is that just he doesn't play assignment football? I'd have to be in the room. I don't know.
Fine the first 2 weeks. That's an outlier. He
Yeah,
was fine. I
he was
just
an
did a
outlier.
piece on it last week. He's been good.
He was good in this game.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating to me. Like this could just be a huge outlier. Absolutely could be. I mean, there are aspects that aren't, but yes.
They also called some weird stuff for the line. You know, some of these stunts, and then Peyton will drop back after they're twisting. I don't know.
I think we're going to get rid of half these things.
Right.
Yeah.
The LSU game plan is going to be fine here. Their receivers aren't LSU's receivers, and their quarterback ain't LSU's quarterback in terms of mobility.
And they're also a little banged up. The Clemson's a little banged up. This is interesting. Let's monitor very closely the health of certain players for Clemson. I want to go back and watch, but I'm pretty sure I noticed that they had some guys come off the field that are integral to what they do. So I haven't gone to check today to see where, if he's addressed that, but it'll be important.
The best thing that happened to Florida State on Saturday was the LSU result. Because if you're doubting what we are, look at what LSU did.
That was an easy cover right
and
there.
Doubt no more.
Yeah.
Correct.
That was the easy
We were
one.
both on that one.
That was rocking chair all day. Baby.
Team total 121.5. They could have had 12 quarters.
No,
Mississippi State.
The Mississippi State team's not good, though. I've already seen them this year.
Correct.
That's why I bet against them in this.
But that's the avalanche that you would expect from an upper tier team. So, again, if you're just looking for, was the LSU game a mirage? No. In terms of what we're capable of, it's not a mirage. That LSU team is good, man.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good. I agree with you. Chef Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio Warchant TV.
I'm Caleb. I'm the lawn supervisor at Paul's Termite and Pest Control, and I really do love my job. Paul's has created an incredible work environment that always puts our customers' needs first. Their needs are our concerns, and my particular job of improving the health of North Florida lawns is something I truly enjoy. I'm an outdoor person, and I get to be outside all day, watching the lawns run through the stages full of weeds to weedless, to lush, grass-filled landscapes is very rewarding. I'm proud to represent Paul's.
I'm Jay. Having the privilege to work with people like Caleb and all of our employees is truly an honor. There is no doubt that the staff of Paul's Termite and Pest Control is the best in our industry. All of our people are local, and local really does mean something. We're North Floridians. Our kids go to school here. We shop here. We build relationships here, and we honor our commitments. To all of our customers, thanks for trusting us to protect your family, pets, and home.
For the elimination of termites, any other pests, and a greener lawn too, call Paul's. We'll get them all.
The leaves are starting to fall, the temperatures will start to fall, and the prices are falling right now at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. Incredible dealer discounts up to $5,000 are available on all hot spring spas, the industry leader in hot tubs and spas. If you've never experienced the sensation and relaxation of having your own hot tub in your backyard on a cool evening, you're truly missing out. The cold months are coming, and now's the time to set yourself up for the best winter season you've ever had. Plus, you'll gain the added health benefits of reduced stress, relief of sore muscles, and better sleep. You'll feel so relaxed after a nice soak in your new hot spring spa. You'll experience some of the best sleep of your life. Head over to Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road and check out their huge showroom packed with the best selection of hot tubs and spas available. And ask about getting up to $5,000 in discounts, low interest financing, and a free accessory to make your hot tub dreams come true. If you're ready to relax, Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab all without a car. I'm Dana Brooks of Basic Brooks Law Offices, and we hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
Oh, how great it would feel to have your 20-year-old knees, shoulders, hips, and back.
You know, you don't think about your pains when you're in your 20s or 30s, but you wish you could get that body back when you're in your 60s. I think QC did that for me.
For Patrick, it started with a simple phone call to QC Kinetics.
One day I was driving and I just heard the radio and I pulled over and took the number and I called them when I got home.
Maybe that's you, and you're listening right now. Why wait? QC Kinetics Regenerative Treatments uses your body's own natural biologics to heal and restore damaged tissue without invasive surgery or harmful drugs. And as for the results,
my knees are as good as as they were when I was in my 20s. I'm really happy with what happened.
For Patrick, it's like QC Kinetics turned back the clock. Now it's your turn. Call QC Kinetics today for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 850-391-4280. That's 850-391-4280. 850-391-4280.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Look at the chat today, not often anyhow. George writes, the BC game was a blessing in disguise. FSU's most dangerous opponent is FSU. Could be. I think when FSU's playing well, you're not going to be overly concerned about too many games on this schedule.
Yeah, I like how this week, we were going to talk a lot about Clemson this week if it was a ho-hum victory over Boston. This week's all about us. You know, we'll look at Clemson, but there's a lot now about, all right, here are the issues. How do they address them? Like today,
you just want to see if they carry over.
Yeah, I think today would have had a lot more Clemson content if it was 31-10 and they went the way that Mike thinks it could have gone, and it probably should have gone.
Yeah. Well, we'll have the rest of the week with Clemson, and again, I want to see their health too. It's going to be pretty interesting. Robert writes, I'm a self-proclaimed optimist, but I look at this weekend as having all the tape/benefits of an ugly loss without it showing up in the L column. Plenty of ammo for the biggest practice week of the year. It is the biggest practice week of the year. It is. And I do think there's a real element of truth to that, in that if Mike was worried about getting their attention, and I don't know that he would have been anyhow, but now he certainly doesn't have to worry about it. I mean, they have to be pretty frustrated. And, if you have championship aspirations, and all these team players have spoken of it, then you know that you can't look like that. You can't play like that and expect that you're going to go unblemished. Z-Chan, always appreciate it, buddy. Talk for a bit about JT's decision-making. Was he pressing? Is he not seeing the reads? I understand that a one-on-one on the perimeter for Johnny Wilson or Keon Coleman is a good play usually, but when it's 3rd and 4, you only need 4. He's talking about the Toafili play, so that's a first down if he hits Toafili right off the bat, and that's all you need, and he got greedy. No, Jordan's not immune to mistakes. I mean, he's not perfect, and he hasn't been nearly as good as he's capable of being. That's the truth. I think he's really a much better player than we've seen in these first 3 games. That's not to suggest he's played poorly.
No, but if he was the quarterback from 2 years ago, Jordan Travis, you'd be fine with this. You'd say, oh, man,
right,
I really wish he would have made that throw, you know?
Yeah.
But once you saw the improvement last year, and then what's happened towards the end of last season and then all of camp, it's not up to that standard that we've seen. And if it does happen, like it did in the second half against LSU, that gets scary, man. That could get scary real fast. And that's what's in this team. We know it's in them.
You know what's fascinating is when he's playing well, he really does do a good job of attacking the middle of the field. And you're right, it's also a level of patience that he shows, where he's able to spread the ball around, take what's given to him, and then go from there. It's just this was not a great day. It wasn't a terrible day. He could have been worse, but he could have been a lot better.
And one other thing, it's a small deviation because last year you went through the numbers about targets and the different receivers down the stretch. He was player agnostic. It was who's open.
It was beautiful.
And there's just a bit of a deviation now.
And I could see how it happens. You got strong personalities. You got guys who are playing in their money year. You got guys who want to put tape out there. It can get difficult.
And it worked against LSU. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it did.
Keon proved that, hey, throw me all of camp. It proved itself to be true. But then against LSU in the big moments, you're trying to separate yourself in that game. One-on-ones to key on are 8 out of 10 propositions, you know?
Well, the good news is if you're watching film and your mic and you freeze the tape, you're like, my man, that's 7. That's 2nd and 3. That puts us in a position to do this. That's first down. That's right here. You're not going to see everything all the time. But there's a lot of things that he's passing over in order to try to make the big play. So it's an easy conversation to have. It's a really easy conversation to have. And I have faith that Jordan will play well. That's the other part of this is when we have the larger discussion, it's not like I'm sitting here thinking he's going to have a year where he's inconsistent the whole way. I think that it's a real easy trap to fall in when you have this many weapons. It just is. And now if you have a moment like that between a coach and a player, you can say in that film room, hey, look, I get it, man. But this in this situation, we just need the first down. We're about to run out the game here. This game's over. We just need to hit Toafili right here. That's first down. These are easy examples. Warchant.com made the trek or trip, combine the two, to Boston. Did you get a chance to walk the streets of Boston, buddy?
Just a little bit on Friday night because with the noon game, it was a little trickier than usual. Usually they play a lot of times they'll play the evening game or mid-afternoon game. But yeah, so I got in Friday night, went down to the North End with some friends, had a little Italian dinner.
There you go.
But Saturday was pretty much all business. If the game had gone the way we thought it was going to go midway through the third quarter,
you could have got out of there, buddy.
I could have wrapped up pretty quickly. But after that, decided to just go ahead and go get to work.
So we've been covering this team a long time, been covering college football a long time. We've watched a lot of things happen and, you get a sense of things. At what point did you think, oh, they're going to lose the game?
Probably maybe the Toafili's fumble for a touchdown was like, oh, this might really be happening.
Yeah, this is a thing now. It's in play.
Because you just can't give them a touchdown.
Yeah.
That was crazy. And then, I think when they got the offensive pass interference on 4th and 1, I was thinking, well, geez.
It's a good play call too.
Oh man.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's an easy play. Yeah.
And if it hits, like it hits, that could wrap up the game right there. So it
does wrap up the game. Yeah.
Just a weird game. And it, with the fact that you've got Clemson 1 week later, obviously everybody's so heightened right now. So everybody's kind of freaking out, but I heard you talk a little bit in the first hour. I'm pretty confident about how they're going to play this Saturday. I think all of the things that might have caused what we saw on Saturday are not going to be in play this week. So we'll see. The Florida State that played against LSU, they weren't flawless, but that looked like people are saying might be the best team in the country. If Clemson can beat that team, congratulations to Clemson, because I think that they may see that team on Saturday.
Hope so. I certainly will get a team that I think plays angry and hopefully is healthy. We can't know. We're not allowed to speculate to a great extent, but we do know guys were under the weather. Right. I think the things that they have to clean up are the frustrating aspects of the conversation. Like if you're still having to clean some things up about getting plays in on time and guys being in the wrong position and letting people run free down the middle of the field, that's stuff that you could tell pisses Mike off, and it should. And he sounded angry to me when he talked about that. Ira, did you pick up on that? He seems a little perturbed that that's still a thing.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to do a little bit more digging around, just talking to people and finding out exactly, is it everybody? Is it one person?
Well, it's not everybody.
And so, yeah. So, but is it coming from the sideline or is it who then is communicating it from there? It's one of those things that they're not going to roll anybody under the bus. But, we'll definitely try to figure out a little bit more about where it's happening. But, yeah, they for all of the debates last year about that defense, when you and I would have debates, other people would have debates about whether or not that was a good defense last year or not. The one thing we could all agree upon, if you look at statistically, they didn't give up a lot of big plays in the passing game. They just didn't. They didn't have a lot of busts. And so when you look at this team so far, they have had a lot of busts. They've had wide open receivers. They've had guys – just running free from miscommunication. And so that's got to get better. You'd like to think it'll get better this week because look, man, Clemson is going to run the football. They're going to be good. They're great at running the football. They've got a great running back, maybe the best running back in the country in Will Shipley. And that's going to create a lot of issues where you've got to devote a lot of effort and attention to him, which, if you've got defensive backs getting bad eyes, you could be in trouble.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. This is a fun week for a defensive coordinator in a way because it's all right there on the table. You know what it is, and you can challenge their manhood. I think you're gonna press and play a lot of guys one-on-one in those situations. They've done that against LSU. They trusted him. I thought this was an interesting game plan. I'd love to know why, what it was they were worried about, that you would have two high safeties as frequently as we did from the jump. I don't know. Again, that's where I wonder about the overall health of the team going into the game. It's just weird. I don't know what they were worried about in the past.
I mean, everybody made fun about it. The picture, I think Tom might have been one of the first people I saw tweet the picture of Adam Fuller walking off the plane or into the hotel or whatever the day before the game, and he had that awful look on his face like he was mad at the world. He might have been a little bit concerned about his depth chart and who was available because, I took a video from the bus outside of the stadium, and a bunch of the players were wearing masks because there were a bunch of players have been dealing with the flu or a bug. So, and again, that's not an excuse. Mike Norvell has not made one comment about it, and his coaching staff hasn't, and you give them credit for that. But it's the reality, man. When I'm sick, I just want to stay in bed all day, not go play a football game against dudes trying to run me over. So I do think that was a factor, but I just think it was one of many factors. Again, if that was the case, if you did have all that not feeling great and all that, you go into the game, BC's for real. They go right down the field. Their quarterback looks awesome. But then you wrestle control of the game back and you take it over and you're up 31-10. At that point, I almost tweeted, and thank goodness I didn't, Jeff.
Well, then don't do it now, Ira.
No, I almost tweeted at 31-10 something along the lines of, "Are we still firing? Are we still firing defensive coordinators?" Or and thankfully I didn't.
Yeah.
Because the next quarter.
The answer would have been a resounding yes. Yes, we are. Yes, sir. Yes, we are. If you can't play through the flu, Ira, I just can't win with you. I can't win with 11 Iras walking around here wanting to go to bed. It's game day. I got to make a tackle.
I'd miss the wake up call. Sorry, coach. Can't make it, buddy.
Well, I think it'll be interesting. I know we'll get to do it on Seminole Headlines. I am curious your thoughts in totality through 3 games. What are your thoughts about this offensive line in the run game, and what are your thoughts on Jordan's play?
I think with Jordan, I'll start there. It was one of the things the biggest questions I had coming into the season was like, what do they do with all these weapons? And because it's hard to have an identity when you have so many different ways you could score. I mean, Jaheim Bell could be a feature player. Obviously, Johnny Wilson can. He has been. Obviously, Keon Coleman could be. Trey Benson could be. Jordan Travis could be. You have a lot of guys that could be the featured player on an offense. And so when you have all of these weapons, now what do? Are you trying to just spread the ball around, or are you just taking what the defense gives you, or do you go, this week we're going to feature this guy because of this matchup and that? So that was always something I was going to be interested in. And I think from Jordan's standpoint, that's got to. I didn't think about. I thought about more from Norvell's standpoint and Atkins' standpoint, but I think from Jordan's standpoint, there's got to be some decisions there to be made. And if you think back to last year, I think Jordan was intentionally going to some guys early in the year. I think Micah Pittman, for example, I think he was trying to get him going early in the year. And then as the year went on, it was like, no, we got to go to Johnny. So I think you may see something like that where things are a little bit predetermined because this offense, we know Mike Norvell and Alex Atkins can scheme it up. You don't need to just find the guy who is a dynamic player. And I think it was exacerbated in that game against BC because you only had the ball 50-something plays. I mean, they had the ball one time in the first quarter. So now you're going through this game and there's this pressure of, I got to get people the ball, like a point guard. Like I got to get these guys touches. And so I think maybe that might be playing into it. But I think that, as you get into a game like Clemson or some of these big games, maybe it's a little bit more predetermined based on matchups and the game plan for that week. As far as the running game, I don't know. I'm not putting it much on the offensive line. I'm putting it more on the backs. You watch some of these other backs. I watched, the Colorado State game that night or the Florida Tennessee game. I just saw backs running through contact more than we've seen so far from Trey Benson. And if you look at the statistics, I put it in my 3-2-1 column, the statistics bear that out. He's not getting yards after contact. He's not making defenders miss the way he did a year ago. Now, it's time to get going, big guy. I mean, last year was the second half of the season. It needs to happen starting this Saturday because I think the offensive line's playing well enough. He needs, the backs need to make better decisions, but then they also need to make some yards. Jimbo used to always say, if I've got to draw up or scheme up every yard for you, you're not the right back. Well, right now, Trey Benson's getting the yards that are schemed up. He needs to get some of those additional yards.
You know who runs hard all the time?
Rodney Hill.
That's correct.
But listen, Trey Benson's a pretty special package once they get him going. So you can't
if
just
they
move
get him
on.
going. But I mean, at some point, you kind of, it's a fair thing to start to wonder about. I also happen to like, and I've said it a lot, because Holmes, I know he didn't play in this game. I kept thinking, but it's interesting. Well, we'll see. I expect a good week of practice. I know you'll be out there tomorrow. I'm going to try to make it out there tomorrow as well. It's a big week. I think it's a big moment. I think we can agree on that, right? Like, this game does not derail your season if you lose it. But let's be honest, 7 straight, you came into this season thinking, okay, we look like we have the better team. If you're a Florida State fan, through 2 games, you certainly thought Florida State was going to be the much better team. Now there's a lot of doubt in the air. Now there's a lot of concern. How do they respond to the adversity that they just suffered through in the second half of this BC game? And do they go play a good game? Because it would speak volumes about what this team is and who they are and what this coaching staff is if they right the ship here and go up there and play dominant football and get a win. I think it'd be a big, big deal. If they lose, we're left to wonder again what has to change, if anything. Like, you're going to have these questions that will persist, and you won't get answers for a while, Ira, because you have a bye week, and then you have Virginia Tech. All due respect to Virginia Tech. You just won't get answers for a while.
Yeah, and I think they're going to play well. I mean, I just think nobody on that team can feel good about themselves after that game on Saturday. Nobody. And so when they watch that film and then they go out to practice tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, man, I've got to imagine that they're going to be as locked in, as focused as they've ever been. Because not only are you playing Clemson, who's beaten you 7 straight times, you're playing them in their stadium, and you just looked awful against Boston College 3 days ago. So I think it may work out where it's the best thing that ever happened to them. If we don't see a great effort for them this Saturday, well, then this season's not going to be what we thought it could be, because everything should be lined up for them to play exceptionally well against a Clemson team that can get got. And here's your chance. They got to make it happen.
Love it, brother. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep. Irashfel, warchant.com. Does a great job for us always. His 321 column is on the website right now, warchant.com. Go read it. Plenty of content there. Plenty of insight there. You can go and read it and say, I agree with that. Or, no, I absolutely don't agree with that. That's crazy, Ira. Then you might read the next paragraph and go, oh, well, okay, you've redeemed yourself. That is perfect. And then you might read the next one and go, no, that's not so.
You can do all of that for just $1.
What?
For 2 months.
$1.
$1 for 2 months.
$1.
It's a YouTube Warchant TV only special. You got to use the code FSU1 at checkout. But we put the link out there. You just go to the site. There's a green login or sign up button. You click it. Use that code. $1 for 2 months.
You know, you guys want to know who can play through adversity? This guy right here. Me. Same with Tom Lang. We are sitting in here baking. It's 147 degrees in this studio right now because the air went out a few hours before we came on. And I didn't want to bring it up. We didn't want to make excuses. I feel like the show's been very good. But we're playing through agony. The kind of heart that's being shown here on this radio program today is something to behold. Sweating profusely. I've had sweat dripping from my nose while trying to conduct an interview.
And heat does dull the focus. We know this.
Yeah. It's just, you've got to find a way to bring it back around.
That's what they did to Herbie Stemple.
You know what they should do? They should show the kids in the locker room this show today.
Oh, jeez.
Just show the kids today what it means to be professional, to lock it in the face of overwhelming odds. Face, eyes, sweat stinging as I speak. It's amazing.
Well, Director Matthews collapsed twice. I had to hold him in my arms and say, you get up. We've got 3 more segments for the rest of our lives.
And here we go.
And here
he's
we are.
up. He's pressing buttons. Looks like he's engaged.
Yep.
That's what it is. It's what it is to be a professional. So shake it off, everybody. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Albany Police Department Criminal Investigations Bureau is asking the public's assistance in locating a Valdosta man and an Albany woman. Jamie and Demon Gaskin, 23 years old, stole a check made out to a construction company for over $52,000. Sophia Kendrick, 41, stole a check made out to a construction company for over $53,000. Gaskin and Kendrick are both wanted. Anyone who has information regarding this incident should call Crime Stoppers at 229-436-TIPS. Several Tallahassee firefighters and their spouses went before the city commission Wednesday night asking for higher pay 401k amid ongoing contract negotiations. Some said they have had to take on second jobs to make ends meet, and their firefighter salary isn't keeping up with inflation. Earlier at Wednesday's meeting, commissioners voted to raise property taxes in order to increase TPD's budget by $9.5 million. The increase passed 3-2 with Commissioners Matlow and Porter in opposition. Commissioners will take a final vote on the tax increase later this month. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Highs around 86 this afternoon. Under clear skies, winds out of the north, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lows dip down to about 62 tonight, mainly clear. Sunny skies tomorrow, high of 87. Temperatures near average Wednesday and Thursday with highs from the mid-80s to the upper 80s. Chance for scattered storms Thursday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 85.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
This is Tyler from Bear No Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere.
Save big time in the new year and get $1,200 off select new units.
Online at BaranoAC.com.
Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu. Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff?
Is that, what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Gone after this year. They got to be like, damn it, man, you were too good too soon.
Yeah, I can use our own basketball analogy. Maybe that's something that they understand a little bit more. But when Fiondu Kabengele, after New Year's of that season,
started hitting everything and being a dominant force, we're like, damn it, man.
Yeah, we're at the under 12, and we're happy because we're up by 12. And then we say, he's gone. Damn it, he's gone.
Well, I would think that at 46 years of age, Mike Elko will be the next head coach of Michigan State. So, grand opening, grand closing there at Duke. We'll have to play well to win that game this year.
Hang on now. Now, what if we drop a 50 burger this weekend at Clemson? What if we do that? And then Clemson has a 40 burger dropped on them by North Carolina. And what about if they play Miami and Miami drops another 40 burger on them?
Wow, then all of a sudden.
Mike Elko might be the new head coach at Clemson.
No. Let him take it on down the road to Michigan State. 7-3 with the Redemption Thursday wagers this week. We are now a few games above 500. That's a good thing.
All right.
And in my personal life, I, as you guys know, hit on those player props yet again. Also took the over in the Florida State BC game. Didn't think we'd arrive at that number the way that we did, but it worked out well. And that was good. Good on you, BYU. Good on you, Duke. Just a good day at the office.
Did you find time to enjoy the NFL slate yesterday?
I did. I laughed. I mean, we're 2-0. Now that'll end because we play the Eagles next, but Baker Mayfield out here playing well.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe
not, because we can stop the run.
Yeah, well, 20-17. That's what it would take. But that 1 o'clock window, the finish of it was excellent.
Crazy. Bunch of overtime games and everything else. Yeah. That was it was a good time. Zaxby's is a good time, especially when you hit one of 53 neighborhood Zaxby's here in Tallahassee. They are bountiful. So is the food. 18 years, the owner of Zaxby's has been a booster, Golden Chief for Florida State. It's huge. And so not only contributing to satiating hunger all throughout the capital city, contributing to victory on the football field as well.
When old Gino used to say, dance to the war chant. They're
Right.
dancing at Zaxby's.
That's right.
All of them.
Especially with the spicy Zax sauce.
The tongue torch.
53 locations in Tallahassee. Just swing on by, get you some Zaxby's tonight on your way home. Maybe it's Monday, it's hectic. You didn't really feel like going back to work today.
Are you? Yeah. After the way the game.
I need another day. I need
Yeah.
another day. I need another day to get this off my chest, damn it.
Are you making the ride up? What are you doing? Have you made your decision?
No, I'm going to stay here and watch it.
Okay.
I've decided I'm going to stay here. I could have. I thought about it. I tell you why.
You want to go halvesies on a platter on Saturday? A little
Sure,
pregame?
yeah, sure, absolutely. We can do that. I'm in on that. One of the reasons is my dad's coming to town to catch my boys' games this week.
Oh, nice.
So
you can watch together, the
so
generations.
we're gonna be watching generationally some football here this week. And so then I said, well, you might as well just stay through the weekend. We'll make it a long week together. It'll be great.
Nice. Right into the bye.
Right into the bye.
Did the kids get to honor the bye week by not doing anything? Or do they have to go to school?
They still have to go to school.
Oh.
Yeah, they still have things they got to do. There's no honoring the bye.
Come on.
We may honor the bye with a little morning Jeff Cameron show recording, playing some golf later on is what we may honor the bye with, my friend. We may do that.
Yeah.
So like 1 week. And this morning I walked out and there were football wins.
Yep.
Wasn't that something?
What do they sound like? Oh, it's real now.
They were there. Now, I know they didn't last. I know it was 85 or 86 or whatever the hell it was today.
Supposed to be 61 tomorrow morning.
Man alive.
Munch on that.
You know how you are driving down the road and you'll see runners, people who like to run?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not people getting food from the back of the house to bring to the front of the house.
Runners, joggers, people who are staying in shape by running. Too often, if they're male, they're wearing shorts that are exceedingly too short, and it's a disturbing, it's just disgusting.
Cheeks are hanging out.
It's terrorism. And I'm driving down the road, and I'll glance over. I'm like, sir, keep it together, man. Wear some shorts, some real shorts. No hoe pants out here. Keep it together. But yeah, there they are jogging. Well, I wouldn't fault the individual tomorrow if you're running and it's 61 and perhaps you're in Speedos, just enjoying the moment. The briskness that has hit home.
If you had,
you might look over and see me.
No, you know what? That means I'm not going to look over anyway. I'm gonna keep my eyes straight ahead. I certainly won't be in your backyard at 4 a.m. That's where I will not be.
No, that's a dangerous place to be.
Oh no,
at any hour.
No. If you had to wear a Speedo, what would you put on it? What kind of design?
Oh, no, I don't know. I've never thought about it.
Well, you've asked Eddie about it for the pool.
Yeah, just to have fun.
Eddie's face.
I would say, a big banana on the front.
Oh, well, yeah.
That would be my design.
Tremendous.
Oh, yeah, it's disturbing when I see it. I'm like, guys, keep it together out here.
In that elk, I think I'd put a hammock. Just a picture of a hammock.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny, too. Let's do some probables, and let's thank our friends at Power Mill. Power Mill Sports, yes, they're helping your young lad or lassie have the fundamentals necessary to go out and play good baseball or softball. That's so you get the most enjoyment out of the game. That's a good thing. Cue it up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
We're in the third inning already. Cleveland's up 2-0 over Kansas City. I'm shocked that it is not a certain pitcher on the hill for Kansas City who is always on the hill for Kansas City when I do probables. It's instead Cal Quantrill versus Brady Singer. We got the Twins and the Reds. Joe Ryan, Connor Phillips, Mets, Marlins, Jose Buto, Edward Cabrera. White Sox, Nationals, Mike Clevenger, Joan Adone. Phillies, Braves. Hey now. There's a matchup here. Zach Wheeler and Kyle Wright. Let's go. Brewers, Cardinals, Freddie Peralta, Adam Wainwright. Red Sox, Rangers, Cutter Crawford, cheater, Jordan Montgomery. Orioles, Astros, John Means, Justin Verlander, Rockies, TBD, Padres, Michael Waka. We got the Mariners and the A's, Brian Woo! JP Sears, Tigers, Dodgers, Eduardo Rodriguez, and Lance Lynn. That's a look at those that shall reside on the bump. You know, in honor of that cooler weather, Tom, we think about the hot tubs that abound over at Pinch a Penny. And if you don't believe me, go check out their massive 12,000 square foot showroom. Over 50 hot tubs in stock right now. It's a massive showcase of comfort. And you can maybe get in one of those babies for just $99 a month.
Oh, look, it's 100% free after you pay for it. So go get it done.
Greer Street. It's a Pinch a Penny on Greer Street. You go to the other Pinch a Pennies, it won't do you any good. Got to go to the one on Greer Street. You'll walk into those Pinch a Pennies and be bitterly disappointed. The one on Greer Street, you're like, this is heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all these hot tubs.
What about those $99 down? Then they give you a Stone Cold Stunner and tell you get out of here.
Get out. Yeah. Here's some chlorine.
Yeah.
Get you some of this chlorine.
Sweeten your bathtub. Get out of here.
I remember having to go buy bags of chlorine for our pool back in the day. I hated it. No matter where you put the chlorine, you just
We had to do the water softener for the water. Yeah, man. Those are the 40-pound pellet bags.
Yeah.
Felt like such a man when Dad said, "All right, you're on your own." And I was like,
Good work out of you, sir. Good work, Director Matthew. Exhale, everybody. Be well. We'll talk to you later. Peace.